Thank you for keeping it tuned in to us on Outreach Radio Chicago. Don't forget you can follow us everywhere in the universe. I'm on Twitter at mmercado2333. You can like the show on Facebook at Outreach Radio Chicago. And you want to see behind the scenes stuff, follow us on Instagram at Mike Mercado 2333 and subscribe to us on YouTube. If you've missed any past episode, including one of our favorite guests, Dr. David Magnano, he's joining us from naturesources.com. If you would like any free samples, call 1-800-827-7656. Dr. David Magnano, welcome onto the show. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. I always enjoy speaking with you.
Yeah, you're the best, buddy. Thank you. And, it's that time of year already. People are in midst of getting into their summer bodies, and you're going to give us a little information about the Gulp and Go lifestyle and how we can avoid it. We've done this show last summer, and a lot of people got into it, and it's that thing. Everybody wants to look better, feel better. So, this is a show that we're always happy to do. And if you're not familiar with the 7 simple steps, the 7 simple rules for eating healthy, it's eat only when you're hungry. Don't mix food types. Eat foods in the proper order. Don't eat when you're feeling stressed, ill, or injured. That's a big one. Chew 22 times, including protein drinks. That's an interesting one. For any of you who've missed any of the past episodes, I highly suggest looking back at that. Don't eat overly cooked and overly processed foods. Give your food a good background check and use spices and natural digestive aids to help break down what you eat. That's a lot of stuff, Doctor. Can you give us a breakdown of why you built this program together?
Yeah, it actually stemmed from one major thing, which is we were trying to get patients to feel better, and we were trying to improve digestion, which improves the quality of vitamins, nutrients, and minerals that go into the cells. And then the other thing is, we as Americans eat way too much food, so I was trying to, incorporate a way that we could actually reduce the amount of calories. It's very difficult, the way the American diet is, to burn off enough calories. So we tend to become fat, and it has a negative effect on diabetes and cardiovascular disease and things of this nature. So we were trying to also reduce the amount of calories that somebody is consuming. And then another big thing is so many of our patients are tired. They're fighting with fatigue, and we know that they're just not getting, the best energy drink is water. So they're just not getting enough water in. And that was really the motivation behind it. And that step number one, as simple as that is, we get probably the biggest change or impact from patients that just do that. Some of the other steps may not be so easy to implement or whatever. They're more challenging to make that change. But when just that first step of eat only when you're hungry, it just has a fantastic impact on patients. So,
yeah, absolutely.
And I can give you some of the details of that one. That one's a real good one.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it goes into you've often, you say it a lot. You said it on our show. People often aren't eating to survive; they're eating to thrive. And that's really interesting. And I think that goes into that too. I mean, I know I've done it that I wake up at 11:30, and instead of getting a drink of water and going back to bed, I decided that piece of chocolate looks a lot better, so I eat that. So, how impactful is that to just only eat when you're hungry? I mean, do you have to get past that psychological block? Is that a big hurdle? Is that the big hurdle?
Yeah, the big hurdle is, and we don't ask children to do this. Children do much better eating on a schedule. But the biggest hurdle is we are creatures of habit. So we get up, we have our breakfast, we get a lunch break, we want to eat something during the lunch, and so we sort of eat at these programmed times. So the biggest challenge of that one, though we have not seen it to be a big problem for people, is we obviously get up, we don't want them to eat at all on a schedule unless that's when they're really hungry, right? So we don't want them to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner on a schedule. They get up, they start their day. If they're not hungry, they don't eat. If they are hungry, we ask them to have 2 big glasses of water, wait about 15 minutes, and then if they're hungry after that, go ahead and eat. And the reason we do this, and you already know this, but the brain center that calls for food is the exact same center that calls for water. And we know Americans are mainly dehydrated, with the main symptom being fatigue. And we're basically getting way too much food in. And we've probably all had the, experience where we've had a meal and 10 or 15 minutes later, we're looking for something. We're still hungry. We don't feel satisfied. So it's a real simple procedure. You wait until you're hungry, and there's no discomfort associated with it. If you're hungry when you get up in the morning, great. Have 2 big glasses of water, wait 15 minutes, and then if you're still hungry after that, go ahead and eat. And the reason we're doing this is we're satisfying water first, which has no downside.
Right.
And if we satisfy food first and then we're missing water, there is a downside to that because we have sort of unneeded calories there. So you get up, you're not hungry, at 11 o'clock, you're at work or whatever, you feel like you're hungry, go to the water cooler, have 2 big glasses of water, wait 15 minutes, and then if you're still hungry after that, go ahead and eat. And then just do that throughout the course of the day. And we're definitely seeing patients losing weight, which they love that. I think they're definitely getting more water in, and they're definitely reporting back to us that they feel better. And I think that's a combination of more water and less food. You know, we have so much food in our diet and so much access to food and snacks and all this stuff. It really puts a strain on our body, really on the digestive system. So that's that first step. And I'll tell you, it's a home run. Mm-hmm. If some people don't want to confront all 7 steps all at one time, we have probably 2/3 of our patients that just say, okay, I'm going to do step 1, week 1, and I'm going to get that totally grouped in, and then I'm going to keep step 1 going in week 2, and I'm going to add step 2 to that, and just add it over a period of, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks. And that seems to be a very easy gradient for somebody to make some real positive changes in their diet and lifestyle.
And I think one of my favorite rules is the making sure you're getting the right nutritional, digestive enzymes and things like that. Because the last time we had you on, it's one of the things it's one of the unsung heroes is making sure that you're getting the proper, digestive enzymes into your body, just because it has to process the right way and your body has to absorb it the right way. And a lot of the foods that we eat, we overcooked. I mean, I just had a barbecue this past weekend and I didn't eat anything good because it was all burnt up, and even the vegetables, everything was on the grill. So can you tell us a little bit about that, about making sure that you're how big of a role the enzymes are, and then how you can prepare food properly to make sure that if you're following these steps?
Yeah, I will mention that. And what we've learned over the past, 12 or 14 years is these digestive enzymes are vitally important to, number one, breaking down the food that we eat and allowing the vitamins and the minerals and the proteins and the nutrients that we're eating the food for to get into the cells and ultimately feed the cells with good quality stuff. So what we know is that there's digestive enzymes in every food on the planet. So that's fantastic. So we already have nature's digestive benefit in any food that we're going to eat. What we've also learned is that we can kill off these enzymes by cooking the food or heating the food over 118 or 119 degrees. And obviously, we do have to cook certain foods. Our culture is such that we're cooking chicken and steak and pork and fish and things of that nature. So that's totally fine. But what we can do is we can add some raw fruits and vegetables. Like, you had mentioned the barbecue over the weekend. We're in the middle of barbecue season down here in Florida.
Oh, yeah.
And we have just been asking our patients that when they have that rack of ribs or that big steak and the grilled veggies and all that stuff on the grill, to just, especially with something like ribs or steak, something that's a bit heavier, we're asking them to have as a side dish some raw pineapple and raw papaya. And the beauty of pineapple and papaya is it's loaded with this enzyme called bromelain. And bromelain is one of the most important enzymes in breaking down protein sources. So like that rack of ribs or the chicken or the steak. And actually, bromelain in many cases is used as a meat tenderizer. It's so effective at breaking down the protein sources. So, and what we hear back, and I do this now, when I have a rack of ribs on the grill or something, I try to have some pineapple and papaya. It's a great side dish, with the spicy barbecue sauce.
Yeah, it sounds good.
It's not even like it's a problem. It actually adds to the meal, but it does a great deal of digestive benefit. And if you're not getting enough raw fruits and vegetables in with the meal, we order this product called Absorbate from Nature Sources. We've been very, very happy with it. It's been like a home run for us. It's basically ground up fruits and vegetables, so it's safe for anybody to take, regardless of, if they're on medications or not. And it basically is loaded with digestive enzymes, and that will help to break down the food. And it really takes a lot of stress and strain off the digestive system. I mean, we've been dealing a lot with heartburn cases lately, and we're seeing better than 80% of our heartburn cases in our medical department that are taking over-the-counter antacids, and the people that we're running through this have heartburn once a week or more. And what we're seeing, and some of these guys are having it every day, every meal, what we're seeing is we've asked them to stop their over-the-counter antacids and just use Absorbate to help break down their meal. And like I said, better than 80% are completely eliminating their heartburn symptoms.
Wow.
So that's fantastic because, we're not just covering up the symptom with Absorbate. We're actually getting a little bit deeper into the root of the problem and improving digestion. And as we do that, we don't get the side effect of the symptom of heartburn. So we've been really excited about that.
Yeah, and you guys have always been on top of this tread, trying to make sure. We were talking about the heartburn episode a few weeks back, so that was some interesting stuff. And anybody just joining the show right now, Dr. David Magnano joins us, naturesources.com. If you would like a free sample, call 1-800-827-7656. Dr. David Magnano is teaching us a way to ditch your fast food lifestyle with 7 simple rules for eating healthy. He's joining us for just a few more minutes. Now, Doctor, here's the thing that a lot of people always want to know is what's the magic, what's the trick, how should I eat my meals? Do I eat soup first? Do I eat salad first? Do I eat the steak and potatoes? The steak and potatoes isn't even good for me anymore? I mean, you got a lot of stuff going on in here that I think is going to shock some people.
Yeah. So here's what we know. We know that the protein source, which would be the beef, steak, chicken, pork, anything like that, fish, the protein source is by far the most difficult to digest. So if you have a little bit of a digestive disturbance, bloating, heartburn, indigestion, reflux, any of that stuff, you're always better to start with the protein source. And then if you can, work in any raw fruits or vegetables that you can, sort of with the protein or right after the protein source. And then it's a smart move if you want, go to the cooked vegetables, the baked potato, the mac and cheese, whatever else you want to go after there. And what we're telling patients is if they're not having raw fruits and vegetables with their meal, just take an Absorbate. It's like a ground up raw fruit and vegetable loaded with enzymes, and it'll help to break down that steak. The protein source is by far the most difficult to break down. So we want to encourage somebody to try to eat that first.
And then what about this the meat and potatoes though? Is it the all-American meal? Is that still the way that mom and pop should be making their meals for their family, or is there is that almost like a urban legend, a old wives' tale that's the proper meal for you?
Well, that's a great question, and I'm actually just trying to think, because when we used to have steak and potatoes at home, I think we pretty generally had a salad with it. And the steak and potatoes, obviously the steak is going to be tough to break down. The potato has no benefit from a digestive enzyme standpoint because it's cooked. So, but if you add some raw fruits and vegetables to that, you add a salad.
Right, going back full circle.
The steak, you have a little plate of, raw broccoli or some cut up red peppers or something, and you can just get some raw food in with that. Then the steak and potato meal is still a great meal. You just got to try to add that raw fruit and vegetable to that. And, like I said, what we're doing with very good with pork and pork chops and ribs is we're one patient even, we're adding the pineapple and papaya. She made like a salsa with it. She brought it in for me. It was actually fantastic. It was a little spicy, but it had small chunks of pineapple and papaya, and we put it over our ribs. It was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah,
it was like a little salsa type thing. But so you just got to figure out how you can add the raw fruits and vegetables into the meal, and if you do that, then we're using all of nature's power to help digest the food. And the other thing that we're learning, and I know you understand this, but there's a lot of junk in our food, right?
Yes.
There's a lot of toxins, preparations, pesticides, altered hormones, GMO. All this stuff is is really hard on our body. It really is like poisonous or toxic to our body. But what we're learning about using digestive enzymes, which is how nature designed it, right? If we're using digestive enzymes, what happens is not only do we break down the good quality vitamins and nutrients and minerals that we want to absorb, but we're also able to excrete, because of the breakdown process, all the junk, all the pesticides and preparations and stuff that's in our food. And if we never get a chance to absorb that stuff, then we don't have the toxic effect of swelling, which always makes, whatever condition anybody has worse, whether it's heart disease, diabetes, or arthritis, or any of these conditions. So we're really pleased with that aspect of it as well. We've actually been using some digestive enzymes in our medical department for patients that have cardiovascular disease and diabetes. And what we're seeing is they're getting a better result with their standard medical protocol just by improving their digestion a little bit with the use of absorbate or digestive enzymes. So that's a pretty impressive thing right there, So we're pretty pleased with that.
And for anybody interested in more, you can go to naturesources.com or call 1-800-827-7656 for free samples. Dr. David Magnano, we could do this all day, but we tend to, we're up against the clock. Is there anything else you want to say to the fine folks of Chicago? I mean, every time I end up talking to you, I leave a little bit smarter and a little bit hungrier.
Yeah. Well, here's the two things. If you want to do that first step, eat only when you're hungry. Wait till you're hungry. Have 2 glasses of water. Wait 15 minutes. And then go ahead and have your food. I think you'll be very pleased with that. And then whatever you can do to try to get some raw fruits and vegetables in with every meal, it's really going to be a big help. And if you can't do that, then we like the use of Absorbate. But that's really it. And I think all 7 steps are listed at the Nature Sources website. So if somebody wants to really get into them and go through them and, start to implement them, I think they're all listed there.
Yeah, and we'll have them in the beginning and at the end of the show, including on our YouTube page. For any of you who aren't going to be listening to this live on the radio, we will have you hooked up on YouTube. He is the absolute best. He's from naturesources.com. If you want any free samples, call 1-800-827-7656. He's friend of the show, Dr. David Magnano. Dr. David, thank you so much, buddy.
Oh, thanks for having me. Always great to speak with you.